Salut și bun venit la un nou episod de podcast. Astăzi îl avem alături de noi pe Umit Batmaz și vom intra în povestea managementului calității. Umit, thank you so much for joining our podcast and welcome. I'm very curious to find out about your career path.
Thank you very much for inviting me. And very nice to meet you today. It's a very nice Bucharest day. I'm very happy to be here. In fact, my career began in 1992 in Bursa plant. I was hired there for the training department, and I was trained for all the different technologies because this product automobile attracted me since the beginning. When I began to make my studies, I decided to work on automobile, and this was my dream, and still it is. And I worked on the training department, and I learned a lot of technologies because during my work in Bursa plant, at the beginning I trained more than 4,000 people in 4 years for automobile technologies, and this product is a very complicated one. It's a product composed of 3,500 components, which is huge in terms of numbers, but also in terms of technologies, because you have chemicals within, you have plastics within, you have oils, you have glass, you have metals, you have also the comfort of the customer. The difference of the automobile is that when you buy a product for yourself, nobody knows its brand, unless it is written somewhere. Nowadays it's a big brand image you put on you. But in recent times, in fact, when you buy let's say a Frigidaire, nobody knows the brand and nobody asks the brand to you. But if you buy a car, everybody knows and everybody asks it. So that's the attractiveness of the product. It's a social product besides its technology. So I was hired in Bursa plant, as I said. I spent a few times, 5 years in fact, there. And then I have been in the quality, manufacturing quality. I spent 15 years at the end in the Bursa plant in different positions. And finally, quality department chief, I'll say, for the plant, but also for the whole worldwide operation, because I also witnessed the change of Bursa plant, which was a small locally manufacturing plant that became to internationally operating and exporting plant. In 1992, we were manufacturing a few hundred cars per day, and today Bursa is one of the biggest plants. They are making 1,400 cars per day. So I saw this transition, and I was one of the actors, which gave me the opportunity to be open to the worldwide operations in order to manage the warranty and also fixing the quality problems. I think we will discuss about that in a few minutes also later. And then I was really attracted to have an international career, because my aim was to develop my skills not only for local management but for international management. Managing Romanian teams in Romania is easy.
Okay.
But managing Turkish teams in Turkey, French teams in France, by a French, it's easy. But if you have, I had the experience in India, for instance. You have French, you have Brazilian, you have Portuguese, you have Indians, you have South Koreans, and I'm a Turkish guy. So it's very complicated, different cultures, different understandings, and the aim is the same, but the way you go to this aim is not, fortunately, the same every time. So I was very attracted with this multinational career and international career, and I made my first expatriation in India for the implementation of Chennai plant today. And it was a common project with Nissan that gave me the opportunity to work with Nissan teams to develop a quality management system for the alliance with the help of Nissan team members, of course. And then I moved to France in headquarters in Paris. I spent again for more than 4 years in the headquarters for the customer and engineering quality of the manufacturing. Complicated, but it was covering all the plants, 38 plants around the world, and harmonizing their quality management system in order to satisfy the customer expectations worldwide. And then I moved to Morocco for Somoka plant, which was a very interesting adventure, a big adventure in Morocco. And then I moved to Romania for the last 9.5 years. I'm living in Romania. First, I was quality director of Dacia, of course, worldwide operations, and then after sales engineering director. And now I'm working in a very peculiar project, which is the development of electric car batteries in France by Vercor, which is a subsidiary of Renault Group, in fact. And as it's a subsidiary and we don't have the majority in this company, I do not have any management roles, but I am just advisor for the quality system establishment. And also we are building a 65 gigawatt plant in Dunkirk, and also advising this plant development.
So many plants that started their story or developed their story with your help. I'm curious, what skills do you need to be successful in this quality management position?
First of all, of course, you need some basic management skills. Basic management skills means management is the management of the people. And if you don't have this human understanding, and if you don't have the empathy, we'll say, with the people, you will not succeed in the management. Even though the results are good, so it's not a successful management, because the manager role is not just to satisfy the customer, of course the customer, but also the employees, all the surroundings. So this is the basic of the management. Besides that, so because you ask quality management is a two words.
True. Yeah.
And when we come to the quality, first you have to know, in fact, the technology, the product that you propose to your customer. You have to master, in fact, the features of your car, or if it's a car, or if it's another product, you have to very really and strongly have this deep knowledge about the product, because the customer and also the employees will need somebody at the end of the day when they have a problem. Somebody means quality, who will answer their questions. So if I may give an example, in Bursa plant, I managed an analysis group, quality problems analysis group. And in this case, I had 7 people, and we have been in the last buckle of the chain. We have a lot of teams working on that. And when the problems are fixed, so my team was not working. But if the problems causes are not detected, then they come to us, and we are the last stage. So if we don't have the answer, nobody has the answer.
Okay.
So it's a catastrophic situation.
Okay.
So you have to have a strong knowledge about the product. This is also second thing I would like to say. Third point is the customer. So you have to have a permanent contact with customers. When I saw in my a little bit longest career, we'll say, guys who did not understand the customer expectations fails, in fact, for the quality management. And understanding the customer expectation is not just looking to the customer service. You have to have the contact. So everywhere I've worked, and you can even ask in Romania for my last team, everywhere I pushed teams to be in the field. Field means visit of the dealers, visit of the suppliers, see what they do, get in touch with them, suppliers and also customers when you go to dealers. So if you have this contact, you understand much better their expectations and their difficulty. So you try to find solutions. These are the three basic things. Of course, there are a lot of other things I can state. You have to know the MSP, metric statistical processes, or statistical process control, or FMEA, failure mode analysis. There are a lot of tools you have to make use, but the basic things are management, as I said, knowledge about the product, and also understanding of the customer.
I love it how it's a mixture of a lot of empathy, as you said. So it's a lot of human contact and a lot of processes which are very strict, and they need to be very well followed by everyone, and you have to
correct.
make sure that everyone follows the same
correct.
process.
I will complete what I said. Thank you for the remark. In fact, when you are a quality manager, you have to be flexible. When I was younger, not too much, but younger, one of the quality managers I met said that quality manager should be strict. I said, you are wrong. Because, yes, of course, when you take a decision, you are strict, but you have to be flexible. Because we make, for instance, Duster today, or we made Megane. Megane was exported to 104 different countries. And in each country, the expectations are different. Customers are different. So they do not expect the same services from the car. And each time you have to adapt your position. One thing that is good in this country or for this customer could not be good for this one. So you cannot impose to both of them the same solution. If you do so, you create one unsatisfied customer. One thing that you manufacture in Morocco in the same process but with different people and in a different condition will not be the same in Bursa or in Curitiba. So you have to understand the differences and adapt yourself to the decision. That's when I said flexible. In this manner, I said flexible. But of course, if you took the decision to be done in this manner, you have to be strict, of course.
But I'm curious because you said also about managing teams with different cultures. How did it work? Did you find a common language for everyone?
This is the very tough job, toughest job, because something you say in this culture means completely different thing in a different culture. But you cannot just stay on your text. You cannot just read your textbooks to the team because you have to create the team spirit. So you have to make them communicate with each other. And the language first, it's a complicated one because the culture that I have been since the beginning is a perfectionist one. So you have to be perfect. If you speak English, you have to speak with London accent.
Okay.
So it's tough because I can speak maybe with London accent, but I also speak Romanian, I also speak French, and I also speak Turkish. So I cannot imitate the accent each time. And this is my problem, of course, but the others the same. When an Indian speaks English, there is a different pronunciation. When an Australian speaks English, it's something different. And just an anecdote, when I was in university, in the summer times, I was working as a professional guide in tourist organization. And I with the car, so we were making the tour of the country. And once it was composed group, and I had Americans, French, guys from Denmark, and one couple from Australia. It was the first time that I met an Australian people. But in the car, when you travel, so you took microphone and you explain what you see around us. So if we are in Bucharest, Parliament and Arcul de Triomphe, etc., you explain that. But there are some questions coming from the people. When these guys were asking Australians questions, I was unable to understand any word. But I was giving some explanations because, when you present a palace or a building, so questions should be about this building. But once we were in a hotel, and I said to you, everybody take the chamber and you go, and at night, 8 o'clock, we go to the dinner. So 8 o'clock, I call the lift, and lift comes, and the Australian couple inside and only myself. So they ask questions, eight floors we descended. It was the longest descent of my life because they were asking questions. I was smiling, but I don't know what to say, yes or no, because I did not understand anything. So in such cases, you can face such situations. You have to find solutions, because when I was tourist guide, I was young, I didn't find solution, but today I have the experience. I will absolutely find a solution, because we manufacture cars and I cannot just let the guys not communicating with them. So language is the first thing. Secondly, you have to study the culture. So I have been in Morocco, I read about Morocco. I have been in India, I read a lot about India. I can still explain a lot of things about India if you want, about Morocco, how many people are in the school, how many schools they have, how many, what is their, scholarship program, what is the actual and past political situation, etc., etc. So you should know, otherwise you will lose, in fact, the control of the team. You have to adapt yourself. But when it comes to a multicultural team, it gets more complicated, because you have, it was in India, as I said, I have one Brazilian, but I have to understand what he expects also.
Of course.
It needs a lot of work. It's hard work. It's very hard work, but each time you have to try to put them together to organize something out of the business, in order to create the team spirit. Not to be just sympathetic, to create, in fact, this relationship between the team members. Because if team members understand each other outside of the work, they will work properly and in harmony in the workshop. So this is the key point. Team spirit.
I love that. And I'm curious, in all of your career, is there something you would change or something that you would have liked to do as well?
There are a lot of things I would like to do.
Uh-huh.
But unfortunately, we have just one life. To be very clear, I would like to do purchasing. I would like to do engineering. I would like to make some, sales activity. I would like to spend my time for laboratories. Development, process development. Every job related to automobile is of my interest. I would like to spend my whole life for each of them. But I have been in quality, and I like quality. Why? Because quality gives you the opportunity to see, at least to me, the company gave this opportunity to see the whole, not only manufacturing, but to whole automobile operation. From the supplies, from the development very early to the recycling area. So I had this big picture. In fact, the automobile today is very complicated product, and in our organization, the jobs are sliced. You have just one part of the car to develop or work on, and consider yourself, you are in a plant and you make the assembly on the assembly 3-man chassis line. You make the assembly of the projector. Every day you make thousands of projectors to be assembled. That's good, but you see just the projector. If you don't have the global picture, it's very hard for you to understand the customer expectations well.
Right.
You just consider that the car is the projector. That's not true. There's a whole operation, in fact. If you understand the whole picture, your decisions and your orientation, your expectations will be much more appropriate to the companies and the customer expectations. So I consider that understand this big picture, and I had this opportunity. That's why I wouldn't change, in fact, my job. And I was very happy. It has been proposed several times during my career to change. And it has been once said that if I don't leave quality, I will never be a director. I said, if so, it's not a problem. I'm very happy with quality. Quality gave me this opportunity. But for other guys, I mean, if you work in engineering, if you work in purchasing or whatever, try to have this global picture view. Otherwise, you don't understand the value that we create. We have the best of the teams around the world, and everybody makes it's her or his best for the company. But they are just working in a limited area. So the key point is to have this global picture, understand what is our role and what is the connection with the others, and team spirit. In fact, if we can create this team spirit for 140,000 people, so that's good. That will be the success factor. Coming back to your question, quality is a good job. I'm very happy to be in quality. As I said, I have a lot of knowledge about automobile, and not only for Renault, for the automobile industry as a whole. In quality director job in Romania, I had more than 200 supplier sites in my responsibility. I visited a lot of them. In India and in Morocco, I developed the supplier network. I didn't take the decision, of course, for the development of the supplier, but once it's decided, so we developed the quality in Turkey also. We made a lot of things in quality development. And this gave me the opportunity to see a lot of processes. So from plastic injection to stamping, from electronics to testing, car testing also. It's an important thing. I think this, if you have this job to see the global picture of the car business, you should be happy, and I'm happy about that. But as I said, I would also spend my whole life for engineering, for purchasing, for everything, communication also. I like very much. But
I love how you mentioned that when you work in quality management, you actually have like contacts with every little chain of the production process. So maybe we can go a bit further into that, starting with the suppliers, right? Until after it gets to the client and we want to we talk about recycling and everything. Could you please explain this process?
Before suppliers, we have a prototyping.
Okay.
In prototyping also there's a quality management.
Okay. Everywhere.
People, they know what they have to do. But the problems are generally created or present themselves, we'll say, in the interfaces. So you make your job, I make your job, there's an interface, and if they are not perfectly matching, so there's a problem. And you think that you did good your work, and the other the same, but it does not fit at the end. So we have the projector as an example, we make the body, but it is not fitting. So everybody did a good thing, supplier made the good thing, good projector in the plant. We made a good assembly of the body, but finally the car is not fitting. There's a problem. So you need quality in order to avoid first this problem, and also even though you try to avoid, there are some problems occurring, so you have to fix these problems. So even for prototyping, we have this quality management, and also one of the key points in the quality management is the capitalization. It means that we get the experience and we book it as an experience to the procedures, to the process for the future. Okay, capitalization is a French word. In fact, we don't make use of it in English, but it's the experience, acquired and transmit to the next generations, next project. So in prototyping, this also is very important. We will come back to this capitalization fact. After prototyping, so you have the product specification. In here becomes something different, because prototyping is a very peculiar project. Means you are allowed to do everything you want. Okay? You don't want these tires, so you change. You don't want this one, you change. You don't want it round, you want something square, you put it. It's your job, you do. And you are allowed to do. Of course, at the end you have to deliver something, but you can do. So the quality management in this area is not the same as mass production. It's different. It is just for the capitalization. We requested this part. Is it this part or not? And also how we will put it on the drawings, how we will put it on our procedures for the mass production. Once this prototyping is finished and the product definition, product specification is fixed, then we have product teams making also the validation of the product. So here we come to homologation. There are a lot of rules we have to respect for the car development, and the car that was designed by the designers are not always with the specifications fitting to the expectations of the lawmakers. So our engineers are working on that. And at that area also you have the quality management, because the quality management will supply to the engineers the expectations of the customer. Here, customer is lawmaker. Lawmaker says it will be Euro 5, Euro 7 and so on. So engineers will be working on that. And the quality guy will be making the translation of the expectation of lawmakers to the engineers. And then engineers will make the car fitting to the lawmaker expectation, but also to the marketing expectations. There's also, this is the industrial line, and you have the commercial line in parallel. I mentioned about the engineers, but besides, we have also marketing teams working to capitalize on the customer expectations. So they are feeding the expectations of the customers to the engineers again. So this also hard work. And at the end, the specification is done, the car is ready. So you have to manufacture the car. Then comes the process. Here, there's a strict quality management. Up to now, it was a lot flexible, capitalization and so on. But once you have the car specification done and also the plant is ready, you have to respect all the rules defined by product engineering teams, because there you work with process engineering. When you work with process engineering, they are much more flexible than the product engineers, because they have the hand on the development of the process. They can create, design new tools, new things, new processes. Engineers do for the product engineers do for the product, but process engineers do the same for the tools. And then you have a process definition, and you have to respect this strictly. Here comes the strict point of the mass production. And in the mass production, you have to avoid problems, because each problem is a cost problem. Up to now, it's a development cost, engineering, prototyping, and so on. After that, it's a mass production, so it's a lot of money. Each car, because you have to finance engineers by mass production. So if you don't, if you don't mass product, so you don't have any money for the development. So in the mass production area, we are very strict. We have to respect all the rules, and we have to avoid the problems. That's why, in fact, we travel and we work together with the suppliers in order to help them to fix any problems before that it comes to our plant. Once the car is manufactured, and this is, we'll say, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 cars per day, so they are dispatched around the world. We didn't mention an activity which is very much important. It's a logistic, in fact, because prototype is a different logistic, engineering is a different logistic, mass production, other logistic, and also car logistic is something different. And each case, you have also the quality management of the logistic. When we talk about quality management of the logistic, we take the example of suppliers sending parts to us. So the trucks should be fully loaded, otherwise we lose money for the transportation.
So that's for the quality management as well. Okay.
Yeah, quality management, because if you tell this, if I say to the truck driver that you have to fill all the truck with parts, they will put the parts everywhere, fitting into the truck bed, But there are quality rules there. Some parts will not be in touch with others. Some parts should be protected. Some parts cannot be traveled on truck. For instance, if we take batteries, we have a lot of rules to be respected for the transportation of batteries. If we have plastic parts painted or not painted, or stamped parts, steel parts going abroad, and if they travel by, for instance, ship, so there's humidity, there's moisture, so there are other protections to be applied and so on. It's a complicated
and just
work
3,500 parts, right? So
you
have to know that.
You have navigation panel, you have the chips, you have different kind of products, and they need different logistics. So this is also a part of quality
management.
activity, we'll say. Once the cars are manufactured, so you come to the expedition of the cars to the customers around the world, again logistic, but also quality, because at the end of the line, you have to confirm that the car is manufactured according and in compliance with the specification of the engineering. So this is a quality role. Quality stamps each car saying it's okay, it's done.
Okay.
And it's a responsibility.
That's quite a
big
responsibility.
responsibility.
So you're the one who stamps for...
When you stamp, it's going,
then it goes to the
they
client.
are going to the customer. So around the world they are dispatched. You remember the commercial line I said. Here you have the commercial line again. Sales of the car. There's also quality management there, because the cars should be sold within a procedure. I mean, if there is a customer, the guy who presents the car to the customer should respect some rules. What features to be presented, what questions to be asked, how to answer to the questions of the customer, how to welcome the customer, etc., etc. So it's a quality management also there. Once the sales activity is finished, then comes after sales activity. In the after sales, this is the biggest and hardest job of the car, because all of the work I explained to you, development of the car, manufacturing and so on, from the very beginning, it will take almost 3 years, maybe 4 years, almost.
Less and less.
It's huge, but compared to the lifespan of the car, it's not too much, because when you manufacture one car, the average lifetime of cars in Romania, 16.5. 16.5.
Okay, I was about to say 10.
Yeah, 16.5. You understand? So you manufacture one car, so you stamped, that's good, okay, but it will be good for average 16.
Average
means
you
have guys going to 20, 25.
Yes.
So during all lifespan, you have to assure the spare parts availability, good spare parts, fitting spare parts availability, serviceability, diagnostics, and also the care to the customer. This is a very huge quality job, in fact. Very tough job is in that part, because everything we mentioned until customer, it is within the company. So we can understand each other, we can understand the difficulties that we have, etc., etc. But if you have a customer in New Zealand, he bought or she bought a duster, and he need or she needs a projector, and you explain that we cannot give you a projector today because in Ukraine we have war, or there is COVID, or I don't know, that you have an explanation, but he will or she will not understand, because
he needs his.
Yes, he or she needs the projector. Okay, you have to supply this projector to this guy. So it's a complicated job, because when we talk like that, it's very easy, but I can state several examples. You have the guy waiting for the part, but the supplier does not exist anymore, because the guy purchased the car 10 years ago. Supplier does not exist anymore. Mold is broken. The part does not exist. So you have to find a solution. Okay. Solution, I mean, there are a lot of solutions. This does not mean that we don't have a solution. Of course, the very nice and friendly solution is to replace his car with a new brand new car. But it's a little bit expensive. So you should not go in this direction immediately, but you have to find fitting parts, similar parts, try to find solutions, convince him. For the projector, you cannot convince him, but you find some after-sales parts. Also, you develop some after-sales parts, not for mass manufacturing, but for just after-sales, you develop some other parts, and that will fit their expectations. Once the after-sales and life cycle is finished, then comes to recycle. But the recycling has been, in fact, decided when the car was designed. So it begins there, So what material you use, how it will be recycled, how you collect the cars, etc. So it's a huge organization. And here the quality, in fact, just for supply the expectations of the lawmakers again, because the guys, the logistic guys and the manufacturing guys are working and engineering, of course, properly on their job.
Wow, that's amazing. It takes,
It's a short explanation.
yeah, short explanation, but short process actually. So it's wonderful. You said before that also in this job you have to be very well connected to the industry as well. And I'm curious to know how you see the industry going and Renault positioning in this context.
Automobile industry. In fact, today, as I mentioned, I'm working for the battery industry. Today we are facing a very strong transition, and we are in a transitory period. So in 1980s in United States, guys, I mean in think tanks, they were discussing one point related to the energy. It was that we cannot continue with fossil fuels because fossil fuels will be ending, and at that time in 1980s, the impact of greenhouse gas emissions were not known very well. We were considering that it was much more related to the fluorocarbon gases and so on. Not carbon activity did not were not understood properly. But they were discussing about the end of the fossil fuels. And there have been two different directions. One of the guys were saying that we could continue with fossil fuels because at the end we will go to the hydrogen. And the hydrogen will be the answer to the endless energy availability for the humankind. But according to Schumpeter's technology curve, the expectations were around 2050, 2060s for the development of hydrogen. And this was discussed in 1980s. And second school was saying it's not possible because the impact of fossil fuels for geostrategy, safety were not acceptable, so we have to go on electric, expecting that hydrogen will come later on. So today, we are in 2024, 2025 in a few days, and we see that the hydrogen is not ready yet. And we are now investing a lot to the electric cars. And it's not just electric cars, in fact, it's a huge change of the energy supply of the society. As I'm working in the battery industry today, I'm working hand in hand with energy suppliers, battery developers, energy storage system suppliers, and so on. What I see is that this electric revolution is everywhere, not only car. For instance, Google or Apple are putting their headquarters, maybe not headquarters, but their operations in Texas. Do you know why? Because Texas is one of the most important green electricity manufacturers, producers in the United States, and also Texas supplies the cheapest energy electricity energy in the United States. So Google and Apple and other guys, I don't know the name, Facebook and whatever you use, they are moving there because they need huge energy. This huge energy and cheap energy. So this change a lot of things. This change also the way that Texans are living, because in Texas now they are welcoming, white collars, well-educated, white collars. This change the panorama of Texas. Why I'm saying that? Because the change that we face is not just the car changing to electric. It's in fact the society is changing and the car has been impacted. We are obliged to go to electricity because the supply of the fossil fuels will be taxed very high in the future. So the lawmaker does not want us, well, not only Renault, of course, everybody around the world does not want anybody to make use of fossil fuels for climate change reasons. Today we are in Bucharest. Let's see what happens outside. It's a very nice, not autumn day. It's a spring day. It's 23 degrees. In November, it's not usual. 10 years ago, in November, it was -5. So there's a huge change in the climate around the world, and there's a huge cost of this climate change. We just see the drought. There's no rain in Romania today. This is the key point for Romania, but in other parts of the world there are catastrophes. So people are dying, people are suffering, and the total amount of damage created should be around 1.2 trillion US dollars for the last 10 years. So it's huge money also we spend besides human lives. This change pushed the electric car in the society, and we have to work in this area. And this change, of course, the whole industry, because guys who were making repair of the cars consider you should have a car, I guess, or you drive a car. It's an internal combustion engine car, so there's an exhaust line. So when you need to change the exhaust line, you go to a repair shop, and the guy fits it. But today, in fact, in few years, this guy will not have any job because there's no exhaust line. When there's no exhaust line, we don't need to replace the exhaust line. So it's very logic. So we have to make this big change of skills for these guys. Coming back to industry is a, I will say, easy part. So for the social part, in fact, for the investment part is a huge investment. Today, in Europe, we have more than 2,000 gigawatts of battery plants construction. Construction means development, tools. I'm not talking about the buildings. Buildings is easy, but what we do inside, so 2,000 gigawatts is ongoing. In China, it will be 3,000 gigawatts in 2030. So China is also investing, United States also is investing, Europe also is investing. So the direction of the automotive industry is very clear. It should be electric, because you don't do these investments for a while. So automobile industry is not investing for 1 week or 2 weeks. So if you make a car, it's for 10 years. So today everybody invests for electric. This means that for the next 10 to 20, maybe 30 years, it will be full electric. After that, I don't know. But today I'm 58, I'm sure that I will die with electric cars. I can say that. But afterwards, maybe your children may be using hydrogen, I don't know. But for us, it will be sure electric. And we have to develop our processes, we have to prepare our skills, prepare our plants, prepare everything. And that's what Renault is doing. In fact, with Ampere, with Horse, and everybody working on this area. Electric will be a must. Of course, there's hybrid also. So transition is not just immediately, because also we need capacity. Today, I don't know if you will ask, but I'm also writing some articles in some different journals. One of the questions coming is electric car sales are going down. So it was a fashion, so it's finished. It was à la mode and finished. Making a fashion for trillions of investment with euros, it's a very expensive fashion, So it's not the case. In fact, what happens today is that in United States and in Europe, we don't have enough capacity to manufacture batteries for the whole demand. We don't have batteries. If we need batteries, we have to bring them from Asia and mainly China. And there are some trade disagreement between Europe and China, between US and China. So there are some barriers coming. So this is to develop, in fact, the battery industry in Europe and also in United States. That's why, in fact, we have a slowdown in electric car sales. But not very soon. I think after 2028, we will have enough capacity to supply in Europe, and the sales will go up. Second part is a social problem. The life expectancy is going upwards also. At the beginning of 1900s, something like that, the lifespan expectation was around 40, 45 around the world. Today it's going up to 80. So all the systems that we are living in are designed for a lifespan of 60 years, 75, 60. So, today is changing. So a guy like me, 58, should wait that in the past. But today, when you ask to me, I have again 20, 25 years of life expectancy. This means that I cannot go to the retirement today. This means I will work again, according to the available law, until 65. Okay, but after 65 also, I have to leave, so there is a pension period. But we put that aside. This is not the discussion of today. But if we come back to the period on which I will work. So I said that I'm working for battery industry, and you didn't ask me why I changed from quality to battery development. In fact, it's a skill management, because my generation and the previous generations, we have been in a different world where the jobs were very clearly described, and also the power was to know. You get access to the knowledge. It was the power that you had, because the knowledge was not available. So you have to look for that. You have to search for that, find it, understand. It was very difficult. Take another chapter if you want, but it was very difficult. I have 3 boys who were studying again in a university, and in their generation, what I see, they have a lot of things to be learned, and it's available. If they want to know how to make cars, it's on the internet. If they want to know how to make this, it's available on the internet. If they want to know how to make a podcast, it's available on the... Everything is available. But the problem is what they do with this knowledge. This is their problem. This next generation's problem is this one. Coming back to our social problem for electric cars, the problem of my generation and again, one generation below and one generation upwards, is that we have to change our skills, because the jobs that my generation had today are disappearing. Do not think about myself, because I represent just less than 1% of my generation. Consider about truck drivers. So we say that, guys, we make autonomous cars. They are so happy, truck drivers, because they will lose their job. So if we put in this way, they will be unhappy, and they will have some fears about their future. But we have to think about that and try to change their skills to other areas. And this is a very critical social problem, because we have to explain them properly why we do that. Because guy who spent 25 years driving a car, he will say, what I know until now is just driving a car, driving a truck. So why should I change? So it's a social problem, and I'm not the only one aware of that. There are a lot of intelligent guys around the world, and they're working on these subjects, how to change the skills of skilled but older generations in the future.
That's true. That's a true challenge. But coming back to the new generation, the young generation, what should they be, focusing on? Or what do you think is their challenge right now?
There are 2 different populations within these generations. Guys, educated ones, and less educated ones, we'll say. The guys which are in our companies, for instance, well-educated engineers, technicians, medicines, whatever. Well-educated guys, they have to concentrate on the technology, because new technologies coming are changing the whole world we are living in. I was studying a report of European Commission for new technologies and adaptation of European Union members. There are a lot of technologies on which European Union is late, and also Romania is late. Some of them, for instance, advanced manufacturing techniques, Romania is the best one in Europe. But if we go to photonics, nimic, we don't have a lot of things. So these kind of technologies are promoting for the future. So not only for Renault Group, in Renault Group also, but also for everybody, not only for guys working in automobile, but for everybody in this generation. I will propose to concentrate on new technologies like photonics, like nanotechnologies, like mobility, etc. 16 new technologies are listed in the European Commission report. Those who would like to check these technologies, just check my name and new technologies on the internet, you will see that. Less educated one, in fact, they need also to understand the new technologies. Not maybe the development, but how to make use of it. Because development of the technology is something, and making use of it is something different. We are in a creative lab here. This creative lab has 3D printing skills. So with 3D printing, you can print cups or you can print spare parts for cars. So which one is better or which one is much value added activities? It's up to you. This also has a value, but up to you. So you make a choice. For instance, I saw a 3D printing shop in strip mall in Iancu Nicolae. A guy still studying mechatronics in Polytechnica. With his father, he made this job of 3D printing. So this is the future, in fact. You have to invest in these areas. You have to develop with this new technology because the old world is behind. It's changing completely.
But the future sounds great.
It sounds great,
a lot, full of possibilities. Yeah,
full of possibilities, but if you don't adapt yourself,
exactly.
then it will be difficult.
Yeah, they can run past you.
Exactly.
And I have just one more question, since you've been in Romania for the past almost 10 years, right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about Romania? Or things?
People. Because Romanian people are very welcoming, and how I say, it's a safe country, I will say. Romanians are very kind people, in fact, very kind people. I will not compare to other countries, but I would say that Romania is a very welcoming, very kind people. Hospitality is very good. Romania is a safe country and very warmly welcoming country. So I love very much Romania, and we decided to establish, in fact, our life in Romania with my family. My wife established her own company, so my boys are studying in Romanian universities now. And, my little girl also is in Romania, studying French school. So we are very happy in Romania, in fact. And also Dacia, I like very much. It has been a pleasure for me, and also I have been proud about that, to be a part of Dacia, because Dacia is a Romanian brand, in fact, born in Romania,
Proud of it.
a part of Renault Group, but a Romanian brand, and there's a full success story now about Dacia. If you take, for instance, today, 2024, when I saw the first Dacias in 1999, I was in the Bursa plant. Yeah, it was really core Dacia, and they bring us 2 or 3 Dacia 1300 made in Pitești, and at that time in Bursa we were manufacturing Renault 12, so the same car but Renault. So it has been requested us to make the comparison. We made it, and we have been very critical, about quality, because there was a big gap in terms of quality. The car that we manufactured was not comparable in terms of final quality that was coming from Dacia in 1999. But I was surprised and impressed, and I shared that with my colleagues at that time, with the technology developed by Romanian engineers, because they had 4x4, they had pickup, they had new technologies that we didn't make use on Renault 12. So there is a strong engineering potential in Romania. And we see that also not only for automotive, we see that for software development, Romania is a hub, in fact. Today, Romania also is becoming an energy hub. So there is a strong potential for engineering and development in Romania, and it's a pleasure. And I think that for the last 10 years, what I noticed in Romania, 10 years ago, the per capita GDP was about 7,500 US dollars, and today it's 15,000. So it has been doubled. And 10 years ago, when I was in Calea Victory, I was discussing with my wife, we were saying ourselves, that's a very nice street, why they don't make use of it? Why they don't have bars here, they don't have cafes, etc. Today it is, so they are there. So yesterday night I was there. It's a very animated area now. It's a very nice country now.
Thank you so much, Umit. It was a
You're
pleasure
welcome.
to have you here. Thank you so much for all the information and the stories. Iar pe voi vă aștept la un nou episod de podcast.